Hello, hello. Welcome to the U.S. Department of State's webinar on the J-1 Visa Exchange Visitor Program. I'm so pleased that you are tuning in with me today. I'm Robin Lerner, and I'm the Deputy Assistant Secretary of State, which means I oversee some programs, which I'm going to tell you about today. And I work at the Department of State, and the programs that I oversee are what we call private sector exchange, which you call the J-1 visa program. I think around the world, lots of people have heard of the J-1 visa. And today I'm going to talk to you about what we call the exchange visitor program, because at the heart of the J-1 visa is educational and cultural exchange. With the exchange visitor program, we call it the EVP. We have this huge mechanism of ways that you can come on a whole bunch of different, really great, fun, skills building, educational, cultural kinds of exchanges in the United States. And we say private sector, and what that means is privately funded. So you may have heard about programs that the U.S. government pays for. Well, we have 6 times the number of programs that you can pay for yourself, or it's a type of program where you do a training and you earn some kind of stipend or wage to offset the amount of money that the cost of the program itself. Through this kind of program, 280,000 people came to the United States on an exchange program last year alone. Huge numbers. So you know what that means? That means opportunities for you. And I'm going to talk about those opportunities and what they look like today. So we talked about privately funded. It means you can pay for it. You can get a scholarship from somebody outside the United States government. You can come on a program where you are, say, a teacher and you actually earn a salary. Those are some of the ways in which we think that these programs are affordable for young people who are in college or just out of college. I'm going to go to the next slide. So if you're, I don't know who you all are tuning in. Maybe you're in high school. Maybe you're already at university. Maybe you're about to start university. We have lots of people who qualify to come on these exchange programs. So you could be a student, you could be in the middle of your studies, you could be a teacher, you could be someone who loves to work with kids and has experience, you could be working toward a higher degree and you want to come and do research. You could be aspiring doctor and you want to come and do your doctor training here. So there's lots and lots of ways and lots of kinds of people who come on a J-1 visa program. So here's a chance for you to, I'm going to let you look. These are at the different categories of exchange programs. So if you look at this list, there are 13 ways that people, and largely young people, can come on programs. The first one, you're reading them while I'm talking, but the Summer Work Travel Program, also often heard of as Work and Travel. This is a program for university students during their summer or winter break, whenever they have a large academic break in their studies. They get to come to the United States with a sponsor, and the sponsor is a very important part of this whole mechanism. The sponsor is an organization that helps you do your exchange. And in fact, you are required to come on one of these exchange programs through a U.S. sponsor. Our website, j1visa.state.gov, lists all of our sponsors, and that's the only way you can do this. We are in partnership with these sponsors, and they can be academic institutions like universities, they can be school boards, they can be exchange organizations. There's lots of different types of sponsors. Anyway, the sponsors, they run different kinds of exchanges in these different categories. So Summer Work Travel, it's a great program for university students during their summer break. The Camp Counselor program is such a fun program. And you don't have to be a student to be on that. You have to be between the ages of 18 and 26, I think, or 22, 26. And you have to have experience working with youth or have a special skill like dance or art or languages that you can teach young people. That's a super fun program. We have internships that university students can do. There's all kinds of ways that people can come, earn a little bit of money, and get a great experience. This pie chart shows how many people participated in each of the program categories in 2013. So summer work travel is the largest one with about 86,000 people. There's the Little Teacher Program, which we love, and we'd love to see more people coming to be international teachers. You can just see there's a lot. The university student category, which I'm sure many of you are interested in, had almost 46,000 people. So there's lots and lots of opportunities for folks. So the primary goal of the Exchange Visitor Program is really pretty simple. We have this mechanism of ways that you can come to the United States in order to enhance our educational and cultural goals. Okay, basically, we know you need something to do in the summertime, right? Or you're studying agriculture and you need some skills, so you want to do an internship. We know that there are things that you want and need to do, and if we have a way for you to come and do it in the United States, we know that when you come and do it here, you're going to learn about the United States. You're going to learn about our culture. You're going to learn our language, and you're going to learn about what we're all about. And a wonderful byproduct of that is that you are going to teach the people you meet in this country about you, your culture, your country, your customs, your language. We call it a two-way exchange. And a lot of Americans won't travel the way you might travel. So we love that at the heart of all of these kinds of programs is a way for Americans to learn about you and for you to learn about Americans. So let's talk about a few of the categories that we think you're primarily interested in. So many of you are participating in International Education Week because you want to come study in the United States one day. Well, we are very happy about that. You can come, often people come on an F1 visa, or they come on a J1 visa. Or I think earlier there was a webinar about F1 and M1 visas and a little bit about the J. So we do have 45,000 students that came on a J1. That's not the majority of university students, foreign students in the United States. J1 students are the kind of students that tend to come on a scholarship, or they come on a true exchange. They come because their university has a linkage with another university in the United States. They really can't be students coming on J1, they can't be paying for it outright or their family paying for it outright. Maybe they were invited, or their government has a scholarship, or they found a scholarship that they applied for and they got it. So those are the J1 students. And then you can come for a degree program or a non-degree program. And these are, we have 1,100 universities, 1,100 universities in this country that sponsor J1 visas. That's not all the universities we have in this country. We have more than that. But 1,100 of them are ready and prepared to take students on a J1. And these are just a couple of them. So as you look at them, you will find universities in every state in the country, and there are actually a lot of different requirements for coming on the student program. And the best thing for you to do is to look at our website at j1visa.state.gov. This slide is showing you the top 20 sending countries. So where are the students coming from? Well, you can see some very big numbers coming from China and Brazil, Germany, France, and that goes down the line. But if you look at the top 20, you will see a huge amount of diversity in the countries, the regions of the world. It's not just Europe. It's, we have Mexico, we have India, Pakistan, Taiwan. We have really a lot of diversity because actually people come from 200 countries into this program overall. So you probably will always be able to find somebody that you know that did, if you look hard enough, that did a student program on a J1 visa. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit. We have some really interesting spotlights on some students. So we wanted to show you a few of them. On the top left is a young Armenian woman named Sonia. She actually came, she's standing with Mr. and Mrs. Huntsman because she got a scholarship from, I think it's the Huntsman Foundation, the Huntsman Fellowship. These are two people who decided to have a fellowship for people to study in the United States. And she got one. And when she came here, she she really she found that she told us that her self-confidence has grown hugely since being here. And she feels that she has very important cross-cultural skills and her language skills have grown. And all of those things for her are exactly what she needs to have for her career in the future. Um, and then on the top right is a woman who's doing she's studying at Columbia College, at Columbia College, which is in Chicago, and she's been studying in their music composition for the screen program. Now, that's a pretty specific program, right? Music composition for the screen. Just goes to show you that there are so many ways you can study and do a program in the United States. And she's doing a student internship, which means she's getting practical experience and she's getting credit for it toward her degree in the long run. And in the bottom picture is a young woman originally from Malaysia who actually has been studying in Germany. And when she came to the University of Memphis in Tennessee, she realized that she could offset the cost of her studies by teaching German. And she's been tutoring students in German while she herself has been pursuing courses toward her major, which is American Studies. And through this program, her tuition was waived. She did not have to pay her tuition, and she did not have to pay for housing. So it worked out really, really well for her. Now, I want to remind you all while I'm talking to please make sure you send in any questions you might have for me. And you can just type in your questions and send them right on in. So this next program is a really great one. Well, this is two different programs, but this is one that students love, the Intern and Trainee Program. So internships are students want to do. This is a growing area where students are studying and then you go and you get practical experience in your area of study. So we had about 26,000 people that came, foreign students that came on an internship in 2013. That's a really high number. And you gain practical experience while at the same time doing it here in the United States. You will just grow in independence. I've talked to so many interns and they've learned so much. They made themselves go far away from home. They have to work in an American workplace. They have a training plan. It's a very specific training plan, and they do everything in English all day. So the kind of skills that they learned, I hear from interns all the time that doing an internship in the United States, they were treated like equal parts of the workforce, and that when they had good ideas, somebody listened to them and they got to pursue their ideas. They got to do so much more than they thought they would ever get to do on an internship program. And at the same time, they learned so much about our culture. So this slide shows you, first and foremost, at the top of the screen is the link to our website where you can learn about the program, because there are rules and restrictions to that, and you need to know all about what is required. You basically have to be in university or within 1 year of graduation, and your internship can be up to 1 year long. And it can be any length of time from 3 weeks, I think, up to 1 year. The trainee program is sort of the sister program to the internship, and this is for people who either got their degree and have at least 1 year of practical experience in their area, or they don't have a degree, but they have 5 years of practical experience in that field. So what happens, we tend to get the more professional folks in the trainee program. And again, there's lots of rules and restrictions, including actually what's really exciting is all the fields in which you can do a traineeship, like management, business, and it's the same for the internship as well. Management and business, finance, social services, arts and culture, the law, information media, communications, agriculture. There's so many things you can do on the trainee program. And these two individuals that we put on the screen, Well, first I have to start with Gabby, the young woman at Grand Canyon National Park, because I met her personally, and she's from Mexico, and she's a wildlife biologist, and she's been training at probably the premier national park in our country, which is the Grand Canyon. And she's been just learning how to do all kinds of things, and she's just a wonderful spirit, and she's had such a great program. And on the left is a young man who's been working at a tech startup company in the United States. And that's, of course, something everybody wants to do, right? And Google and Facebook and Microsoft, these are all corporations that do internship and trainee programs, just to name a few. So there's lots of opportunities through that category. Summer work travel. This is the one that I mentioned earlier, which is our largest category. So popular for university students. You have to pay an upfront program cost, but you get to come to the United States and you work for up to 3 months and then travel for up to 30 days. And all of these students that you're looking at have had the most fantastic summer. You have to work in a seasonal job. So you work in a place that there's a lot more people. It's a place like a beach area or a ski resort where during the summer or during the winter, lots of people come and they need a lot more help. They need a lot more staff. So they can hire people on J1s to come and do the program. And what happens in this program is you learn, of course, about working in the United States and about the American work ethic. You also learn English for free. I mean, your English will be on a whole different level when you leave your summer here than when you started. You have to have some level of English, a certain level of English. And again, your sponsor will be very important for you. And there's a list of sponsors. If you go on our website, and the link is there, you can see some examples of people who are on summer work travel. You can see what the requirement is. You can see the sponsors. And most universities will have a local agent that sells, that kind of markets the program. So you can start to look around. But you can also just start to Google Work and Travel USA, and you'll see the universe of sponsors and programs in this one. But I love it. I get out and I meet summer work travel students every summer. Everybody in the pictures there I've met, and I got to see their programs. And the one on the bottom right, the young man from Africa, he's from Senegal, and this one is from Kenya. And where the place that he was working, they did a big international fair, and all of the students got to promote their own culture. It was really, really fun. Okay, another favorite of mine is the Camp Counselor program. Most countries don't have summer camps the way the United States has summer camps. And I myself was a camp counselor when I was young, and I was a camp counselor in another country. So this is like my favorite program. And as you can see in the pictures, young people, you don't have to be in university, as I mentioned earlier. You have to be between 18 and 26 and have certain skills. But you come and you work in a summer camp, which is a place you've never experienced before. You lead children through the summer. You interact with them. You might be their primary counselor, or you do things like the ropes course, or you teach them horseback riding or dance. You get very, very close with your co-counselors and very, very close with the children. And what you will learn over that summer will be wonderful. And that is not a program where you're going to earn a ton of money, but you will make enough money to pay whatever you put into it. And the young man with the yellow hard hat on at the top, he's from Scotland, and he started out, before he became an international camp counselor, he was in a certain course of study. And after his first camp experience, he went home and changed his whole major and got a new master's degree for education. And he has come back every summer, and he loves it, and it's changed his life. So I encourage people to look at that program. Okay, so some of you might be in high school now, or you might have friends and family who are in high school. Our secondary school program, also the high school program, is for students between the ages of 15 and 18 and a half. And you come and do an academic year in the United States. And I don't think that there is a more cultural program and a more educational program than a high school year in the United States. You have to be the kind of person who can live away from your parents for a year and live with new parents and a new family and in a new school. So it can be really challenging, but it's so rewarding. And we had about 26,000 students that came from all over the world last year. You live with a host family and you go to a public school and you can play sports and you can be a cheerleader and you can do the computer club and you can do music programs and all these things that go along with going to school in the United States. Okay, so now I've tantalized you with a few of our programs. There are so many more. And if you go, we love to talk about our programs and what they really do. So if you are wondering, well, I don't know, is it really a good thing to do? I invite you to check out my blog, which is, the link is right there. And on that blog, I highlight the stories of participants through their own words. They talk about what the experience was for them and my impressions of what the program has been doing for a lot of these students that have come on programs. And if you actually go to exchanges.state.gov, that's the U.S. Department of State's, it's our Bureau of Educational and Cultural Affairs, our website with all of our programs. You can see all the just amazing ways people's lives are changed by coming on an exchange. So I think that we are ready to go to questions, and we'll leave it at this slide with, this is a young man from Mexico who was on an agricultural internship program. And that was a really neat program too, because he came from a family farm in Mexico. Actually, he's beginning his degree in agriculture. And he ended up being placed on a family farm in the United States and has been learning all about American farming techniques and improving his English at the same time. So now we'll see if we have any questions.
So the first question is from Laura Pankey, and she wanted to know, what is the cost of the Summer with Travel program?
Okay, that's a great question. So this cost of the program really depends on where you're coming from. And it depends a lot about your English level. It depends on what kind of program you are seeking from your sponsors. Some sponsors have programs where they do a training program for you, they do a job fair for you where you get to meet employers before you even come. Sometimes they'll do English assessments, they'll help you with your resume, they place you in the United States. So, and some just you find the place yourself and they verify it and vet it and make sure that it's a good place for you to go. And those ones will cost less. So it really does depend. Generally speaking, though, you will pay a program fee to, often there'll be a foreign partner, somebody who's in your home country who works with the American organization that we call the sponsor, and they will each have some kind of fee. And then you'll have to make sure you have insurance and the airfare, and then there's going to be the visa fees. So it can get up to be, in the thousands of dollars, like it just depends on where you're flying from. And what we always tell people is you need to make sure that you can cover the costs and that you're not going into debt to come. And you need to make sure that when you work, you're going to work to pay yourself back or pay your parents back or where you got the money from back. But know that you probably will break even at the end of your summer. You'll work, you'll earn money, and then you'll travel, and hopefully you'll come back. Maybe you will have spent a little bit of money, but you would have gotten 4 months of experience in the United States. So sometimes people come back with money in their pocket. It really just depends on where you're coming from and what you're going to be doing. Sorry, I can't be more specific than that.
How do I find a sponsor to help me participate?
By the way, that's the voice of Kyle. She works with me. How do I find a sponsor to participate? So, well, first and foremost, there's so much on the web. So I would Google in your home country and in your home language, work and travel. And was this about work and travel or just in general?
This is a general.
Okay, our website lists all of our sponsors. I need my colleagues over here to get me the link, but I think if you go to j1visa.state.gov, there is a place right on the homepage that says sponsors on it, and you just have to look. Sometimes these web pages aren't the easiest things to navigate, but you can also Google State Department J1 Visa sponsors, and hopefully it'll take you there. But another thing to do is just Google the kind of program you want to do. and sponsor, and you'll see a list of the different kinds of sponsors. But I will say that certain sponsors they have their program listed on a website of their own, and sometimes they have online applications. But other times, your university itself will be able to advise you about an internship because lots of internships are linked with universities in other countries. So if it's one for credit, I would talk to my university. If it's one not for credit, then I would do a lot of internet research and look at the list of sponsors on our website.
So you said a certain level of English proficiency is required. How do you measure it? Do you give any tests?
Okay, that's a wonderful question. So the organizations that run the programs, they have different ways of testing. Some of them use or assessing. Some of them use like TOEFL scores. Some of them will ask you to show your transcript to show that you took English courses and what your grades were. And they often will do a Skype interview with you and ask you questions and hear your answers in English. So there's different ways. We don't require a test, but some sponsors will do that anyway because they have a certain standard that they require.
Um, what is the first step I should take if I want to participate in a college or university program?
Okay, the first step, if you want to participate in a college or university program and you're not yet at university, well, I say the first thing you should do is Google Education USA, which is a State Department resource, which we have educational advisors all over the world. And if there isn't an actual advisor in your home country, there's likely a virtual advisor. The other thing to do is to start thinking about what the program is that you want to do. And I mean, I think what you're doing right now is exactly the right thing. You're at the virtual college fair and you can see what the different universities, what their style is, what they offer. In the United States, there's so much choice, and you often don't know exactly what you want to study when you're just getting started. So I think it's important to think about the kind of climate that's important for you to live in. If you want a big school or a small school, because we have universities that get up to 50,000 students and some that are down to like 1,000. So there's a lot of variety. Cost is probably going to be a big factor for you. How much will it cost you? I would definitely look at, are there scholarships available for people like you and from your country? And I would look at universities that actually offer those kinds of scholarships or have a study abroad program, because sometimes they will have linkages that could be beneficial. But you should go to your home university and go visit their international programs office and just talk to people there, and they might be able to give you a good idea.
We have a question about the trainee program. Is it possible to do a trainee program in engineering?
Oh, a trainee program in engineering. While I'm answering this question, please, others of you, feel free. I'm supposed to continue to remind you that I'm happy to take your questions. And I'm going to try to speak more slowly because I am afraid I was speaking too fast before. Engineering, yes, you can do a trainee program in engineering, and I can't think of a better place to do a trainee program in engineering than the United States.
Can I participate in more than one program?
At the same time, okay, the question was, can I participate in more than one program? Simultaneously, no. But yes, you can. You can participate in as many programs as we allow. That's not very clear. So say, for example, you came as a high school student. Okay, you can come as a college student. You can come as an au pair. You can just keep looking for things that you qualify for based on your age or the requirements, like I have to be a university student or I have to be studying medicine, or each program has certain requirements. And as long as you fit those requirements, you can come. Now, some of them do have, like, you have to take a pause. So say you came as an international teacher. Well, you have to go home for a couple of years before you come back as an international teacher again. But say you came as an intern after your first year of university, and then you thought, oh, I changed my major. Now I want to go and do fashion design. And you qualify for, you can do it, you could still qualify for an internship. If you found the right kind of internship, you could come again. So we don't limit it. And currently there's no limit to how many times you can participate in, say, summer work travel.
Okay.
The key is whether you qualify based on the regulations.
Okay. The next question is it possible for transfer students to participate in football programs?
Are we talking college or high school?
It's not clear, so let's talk about both.
Okay, let's talk about the college level. I'm looking over at my colleagues Amy and Lamia, who are over here, and they're my experts on the academic programs that we run. A transfer student to the United States, I'm assuming what they're talking about is you transferred now from from a foreign university to an American university. Can you play football there? It probably has to do with the university. Whether,
and the personal skills, and if you are really talented
right
into the team or not.
Right. I think what we're saying is we don't regulate that in the program from our level, so it's really about you need to go out for the football team and give it your best shot, and hopefully you'll make it. On the high school program, which I don't think this is about, but anyway, on the high school program, you can't play sports.
I've heard I cannot return to the U.S. after my J1 program. Is this true?
Okay, before I answer that, it looked like Lamia wanted to say something else about the last question.
Hey, about the sports?
About the sports? No, you're fine. You're good. Okay, she's good. Sorry. Can you come back to the U.S. after doing a J1? That is a really good question because there is a lot of misunderstanding about that. Yes, you can come back to the United States. As I said, there are certain programs that will require you to go home for a couple of years before you do another J1 program, but you can certainly, once you go home, come back on a tourist visa. You can come back on another class of visa. You're welcome to come back. Whether you qualify for another program, on a J visa, that's another question. But yes, you can come back. If you went home on time before and you didn't violate any visa laws.
How can I talk to past participants of the J1 program?
Oh, that's a really good question because we have been really encouraging our program sponsors, the organizations that run the programs, to do alumni programs. So in a lot of programs, they will have lists of alumni, and the alumni might be very, very active. So there are lots of chats online that you can find, or you can connect with a local recruiter or a sponsor and ask them that. The other thing is you can also look on our website and you can see a lot of the participant testimonials. But I think a really good way is to find a program that you think fits what you'd like to do and that sponsor, and then ask them to connect you.
What is the difference between the intern and trainee program?
Oh, what is the difference between the intern and trainee programs? Well, so an internship program, both programs, you can do the same fields, the same areas of study or work, but interns have to be in university, actively in university in their home country, or have graduated no more than 1 year ago. So in university or within 1 year of graduating from university. Trainees, and it has to be in your area of study. So you can't, say, be doing studying management and finance and do an internship program in engineering unless you can show that it's related to your course of study. Trainee programs are for people who have graduated and have already worked for at least 1 year in that field. So I can be a fashion trainee if I graduated in like fashion design and I've already been working for a year, and then I get a program at Marc Jacobs in New York, and then I go there. I qualify as a trainee. Or you never graduated from college, but say you've done 5 years as an actor, or you've been in a theater group and you want to go and work with a theater group in New York also, that you can go as a trainee.
So how do I find an internship or a trainee placement?
So our website is a really great place to start in terms of finding sponsors of internship and trainee programs. So a lot of people honestly find their own, like you've been working, in agronomy, or you've been a wine grower, for example, and you meet people in the field and you put yourself out there. I'd love to come and train with you. So you have to do your own research for one thing. But also, if you're in university now, it's really worth talking to your professors about you want to go and do a training program or an internship program in the United States. Ask them to help give you advice on that, and where they think would be a good place, and do they have any contacts. It's a really good place to start. And also, you have to just do some internet research to find out just internship sponsors. I can tell you, starting out by just contacting sponsors that are on our website is a really good place to start, because they would love to answer your questions about that. And they will, most sponsors will find you, their job is to connect you with a placement. So you find the sponsor, you tell them what you want to do, and they will start that process of looking at your skills, looking at your education level, and what you want to do. They'll help you get a resume together, and then they'll put you out they spend all of their time finding placements in the United States so they can match you up. And that's really what you're paying them to do, because you pay for that service with a sponsor. If you can't do it yourself, that's what you find your sponsor to do.
So you said that you pay the sponsor to do some things, but what can I expect from the sponsor when I get to the U.S.?
Okay, so the question is, what can I expect from my sponsor when I get to the U.S.? The sponsor is a very important resource for participants. So it's the person who's running your program. So they monitor your placement. They make sure that you are okay, that you're healthy, that you're safe, that you're good, your well-being is taken care of. They're responsible to make sure that your program happens the way you want it to. So, say in my last example, you find a sponsor, an ABC sponsor, I'm making that name up, and they help you find an internship. They're the ones who tell you what you need to do. You have to agree to a training plan, for example, with internship programs. Well, when you get to the United States, if the organization where you're interning isn't sticking to the training plan, you go to your sponsor. Say you're on summer work travel and you hate where you are, or your housing isn't what you wanted, or something doesn't feel right, you go to your sponsor. Say you're at a university and you just have a question about where do I go, how do I register for classes, you go to your sponsor. Your sponsor is your resource. They're the ones who are required to help you make sure your program is a success. And that's how we have this whole system, is we designate organizations to be sponsors, and then they go out and they work with all of you. This is going to be our last question.
So if I am interested in the college and university program, what is the application process?
Okay, that's a great question. So the application process is about the university that you choose. We don't have one. And I can imagine this is confusing, because I'm talking to you about college and university category. But what happens is the State Department says, okay, universities, you're allowed to bring people in on a J-1 visa to be a student. So you have no problems. People can come from other countries to study with you. But then the university takes it from there. They set up the application procedure. They set up the cost. They set up all that stuff. So the first step for you is to determine what university you want to go to and what program. And it's going to be up to them what the application procedure is. And honestly, I cannot say enough about Education USA. Such an important resource. Our Education USA advisors will help you get through that very complicated application process. All right, so I think it's time for me to go. Thank you, everybody, for not just first for participating in my webinar, but also for being part of International Education Week and the virtual college fair. It's really exciting, and honestly, we really hope you come to the United States. So hopefully we'll see you here. Bye.